So in this video, I challenged myself to get the entire house clean in 60 minutes. There's 6 rooms in the house, so I allotted myself 10 minutes for each room. I like to do this kind of thing when I have bouts of low motivation, and the thought of doing an entire house clean just seemed way too overwhelming. Breaking it up into 10-minute segments just makes it a lot easier, I think. And doing it this way is so helpful when you have things like executive dysfunction or ADHD, because it turns it from something monotonous into a challenge or a game. So yeah, I set myself a 10-minute timer, and I'll get as much as I can done in each room. And after the timer's gone off, that's me done for the day in that room. I haven't been feeling very motivated recently, and so I'm not going to force myself to work after the timer's gone off. I can deep clean when I'm feeling better. Anyway, while we're working on the bathroom, I've got a story to tell you. It's about this viral bath toy that's been going around on TikTok. You'll probably see it come up soon because it's stuck to the wall near my bath. But I'd seen a few mums advertising it on their TikTok shop. Basically, it's like a windy slide and it has these little duck toys that go down it. And I thought, wow, that actually looks amazing. I'm going to get that because my kids will love it and put that on my TikTok shop. It would have been the first thing I'd ever posted on my TikTok shop. But I thought, it looks awesome and I'll make a post about it and link it in one of my posts. And that would have meant if anyone clicked on the link and bought it, I'd have made a small commission. Anyway, it turns up. We go to assemble it and I am literally horrified. The little ducks are absolutely tiny, perfectly round, and just a complete choking hazard if ever I saw one. It says it's for +3s on the box, but I'd seen other mums on TikTok with younger kids playing with it. And older kids still choke, they're forgetful, they get excited. I still slice my 6-year-old's grapes into quarters. So I messaged the seller and I was like, look, I'm really sorry, but this is a choking hazard and I can't in good conscience recommend this to my followers with small kids. And they messaged back saying, okay, would you consider anything else on our shop? And I was thinking, that's not really the response I'm looking for. I at least wanted to hear, thanks for bringing that to our attention, we'll look into it. Although I'm 100% sure that I've already been made aware it's dangerous. But yeah, TikTok shop messaged me and they were like, because you've not done a post on this product, you're less likely to be allowed to post anything else. Doesn't bother me though, that's not what I'm on TikTok for. But yeah, that was my first ever experience of trying to do affiliate links. And if you see that duck bath toy advertised, I don't recommend it. I had to put the windy track on the bath still anyway because my kids had seen the toy. I just took the ducks away. Choking's one of my biggest fears as a mum though. Having parents that work for the NHS, you end up hearing a lot of horror stories. And yeah, things like that, it's just not worth the risk. Anyway, at this point we had about 1 minute left on the timer, so I didn't have time to clean the actual bath because I'd seen some grime on the floor near the toilet bowl and the skirting boards, and I wanted to get that sorted instead. You'll see what I mean in a minute, minging. And this is the first room done. You can honestly get so much done in 10 minutes. It's shocking really, but once you get one room done, it spurs you on to get more done. Especially when you know you're not going to be slogging away for ages in one space. And you can see from the bottom of the bath, it's not perfect, but it's something. As you can see, it could have done with a hoover and a mop, but now the bulk of it's done, that's an easy job for another day. And now we're on to my boys' room. This room always looks worse than it actually is. It used to be absolutely horrific to clean, but in January we did a declutter and we bought loads more storage boxes. And now it's just a simple job of putting everything where it's meant to be. Honestly though, I think we need to do another declutter soon. I saw one lady talking about how she does a declutter every month, a little mini one, and I think that's such a good idea. Another one that's always suggested to me is rotating toys. But we live in quite a small house and we just don't have the storage space for that. I think it's a healthy thing though for kids to go through their toys and pick things to donate to other people. It teaches them to value how much they've got and to acknowledge that not every child has that. I'd also love to do a car boot with them one day. Let them sell a few of their toys for some extra change. I just feel like that'd give them such a sense of pride and accomplishment. But yeah, I just need to find a car boot in my area. I've never done one before. I don't know how it works. And if you're wondering why my voice sounds a little bit different now, it's because I have to do these voiceovers in little segments whenever I get time. And I've been putting off doing the rest of the voiceover because I've got a cold and I just sound really snotty. But it's been over a week now and I'm still bunged up, so I'm just going to get on with it. This little basket of food is the bane of my life. I'll pick all the food back up and my son will tip it out almost instantly. I cannot count the amount of times I do this in one day. So we were about 5 minutes into the timer here, and I was really struggling trying to get this door back on because I thought it's wasting all my time. And I think I get frustrated easily like that because I'm so used to tidying with my 18-month-old around. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, but when you're tidying and then your kids are making mess in a separate place and you're like, what am I even doing this for? But yeah, if you watch my shorts or my TikToks, you'll know I'm really focusing on trying to be mindful these days and to just go with the flow and try not to get stressed because this is life and it's life with kids. And I don't want to be seen as stressed mum, I want to be happy mum. And I want the home to be a place they feel comfortable enough to let go and make mess in. Not in a disrespectful way, but children make mess when they play. And that's how they learn and develop a sense of self. A lot of people get really angry when they see the state my house can get in sometimes after the kids have played. And they're of the opinion you should teach your kids to pick up and put away after each toy they've played with. And as I've said before, I don't do that because I feel like it interrupts that imaginative flow they're in. We're all different and we all parent differently, and that's what makes the world interesting. And the only person who has to deal with that mess is me, so I don't know why people get so angry. And yeah, I'd rather tidy one very messy room than be constantly picking up after them throughout the day. My eldest now, when I'm cleaning, has started to come up and just help me automatically, and that's just what I wanted. For them to replicate what they see and help because they want to help, and because they see me and my partner helping each other. That's not to say we don't have to remind him to pick up his toys sometimes, but it's important to me as a former messy child that there's no shaming involved. I have a lot of anxiety regarding mess and I don't want to pass that on to my children. But yeah, we were just coming up to the end of the 10-minute timer here. And as you can see, I didn't get to finish the bed, but look how much better it is. Timers are an absolute game changer when you're overwhelmed. And you've probably noticed there aren't any little ones running around in this video. And that's because Charlie took them out for a day so I could just focus on absolutely blitzing it. This really helps with my mum guilt, because then I can just get completely stuck in, do what I need to do, and I know that the kids are out there having fun with someone who's completely focused on them and present with them. This is why I get a bit frustrated with the term pick up as you go along, because in my house, with the amount of messy people that live in this house, if I picked up as I went along, I would never stop. And I don't want that for myself or for my family. I know there are a lot of people that find picking up as you go along so much easier, but my brain just doesn't work that way. I become stressed and irritable and guilt-ridden, so I'd rather do one big clean than loads of little cleans, and it's just how I am. There's no right or wrong way of doing it, you've just got to do what works for you and what gets you through the day. And as per usual, we've got a little floor drobe going on, but it's a semi-organised floor drobe today. I had sorted them out into piles, but then someone came and ran into them. And some of the piles miraculously survived, so I was very happy about that. Anyway, at the minute I'm working on my second ever sit-down chat for YouTube. I would love to do a lot more of them, but it's just finding the time and finding topics to talk about. My first was me sharing tips on how to grow on TikTok. And my next one is productivity tips for people who are messy and disorganised, and I am so excited to share it with you. Having the kind of account that I do, I know a lot of people that follow me are neurodivergent, or have to deal with really chaotic headspaces and just struggle with organisation in general. And a lot of the productivity videos out there aren't really catered towards people like me. Because with us there are extra hurdles and obstacles that come up that we have to face. So yeah, I'm just in the final stages of scripting that, and I hope I manage to make something really helpful. And if not that, at least something that makes people feel seen and more understood. Because it can be really lonely and exhausting trying to explain your messiness and disorganisation to people who just don't have to go through it. So yeah, I've been very, very busy, and I think that's why I've got a cold, because I'm just run down, and that's why the house looks like it does. I'm not very good at multitasking. If my brain's focused on something creative, then something else suffers. And now we're on to the horrific hallway, and I know it's not technically a room, but it needs the 10 minutes. I've swapped it out for the downstairs bathroom because that's actually pristine at the minute. So let's see how much we can get done. Both wash baskets are overflowing and I just cannot wait for the hot weather and to be able to peg out. With the cost of living at the minute, I just can't justify doing multiple washes when I know I've got to put the heating on to dry them. I just need it to stop raining. Good old British weather. And I know you're probably thinking you need to get rid of at least half of those clothes. And embarrassingly, this is after we did Declutter January. We filled up 6 bags of clothes to donate and it still looks like this. But to be fair to me, this is my clothes and my 2 sons' clothes, so I just, whatever. I'll go through it again soon. There's a bag of Christmas stuff and a sledge that's been stood on this landing for ages that my partner needs to put in the attic. I'm too small to put them up there, even with the ladder. And you won't see it in this video, but I actually annoyed him enough to put them up there, so they're gone now. The Grinch bag there's full of baby clothes that my son's grown out of that we're going to give to the charity shop as well. And why there are a bunch of shoes up here, I do not know. But once I managed to get these downstairs to where they were supposed to be, I only needed to hoover and to empty the bin bag. And honestly, the weight that had been lifted off my chest to know that upstairs was almost done. It might not look perfect, but we were aiming for progress here, not perfection. And speaking of needing to empty the bin on the landing, I recently had a TikTok go viral where I was cleaning my room and it was in one of its really bad states. As I've said, I've been going through a few weeks of poor mental health and just lack of motivation. And a lot of people commented, you need to get a bin in your bedroom so there's not rubbish on the floor. Very sensible, helpful suggestion. Obviously, they didn't realise I'd got a bin in the landing for that exact reason. And I didn't have the energy to try and explain that regardless of whether there was a bin there, when I was in that mood, the rubbish would have still ended up on the floor. And this is what got me. Someone else replied. And they said something along the lines of, Remy's like me, and the bin will just end up overflowing and not be emptied. And I cannot tell you how seen I felt in that moment and how not alone. To know that there really are other people out there that struggle with the same things I struggle with. Because this is the thing, we have good intentions, we don't want to be messy, and we do put things in place, like extra bins around the house. But depending on our frame of mind at the time, it doesn't always work. What happened for my bedroom to get into that state was I'd been waking up in the middle of the night and stuffing my face and then putting the packets of crisps on the side with every intention of putting them in the bin in the morning, and then I'd get distracted by the kids or something that needed to be done and the mess piled up and then they'd end up falling on the floor, and do you know what I mean? I sorted it eventually in that video, but sometimes that happens with my bedroom. It turns into my little depression cave and it's gross. But it's a part of living with the brain I have. And I'm always working on myself and trying to implement strategies into my life that prevent things like that from happening. Do you know what I mean? But I'm human and we fall down sometimes. Anyway, the kitchen, my main priority was the disgusting floor. I'd been working on the garden. We're trying to regrow the lawn back because we've had leather jacket grubs and they've literally destroyed the garden. There's no more grass left. And yeah, so I was just putting lawn seed down and then I was spraying it with the hose and we just got a bit muddy. So I knew that I probably wasn't going to get as much done in this room as I did in the other rooms in the 10 minutes. But I gave it my best shot. And as I said, it was about getting bulk bits done in each room to reduce the amount of overwhelm. I do this when the house has gotten on top of me and it gets me back on track. I just wanted to point out here that I realise how fortunate I am that I have other people that can take care of the kids while I do this. Single parents have it 10 times harder and I salute you. I find it difficult with a partner, so to do it on your own and with little ones running around, you're amazing. And I'd also like to take this time to big up Charlie for dealing with me. Because I share this side of my life on TikTok and now on YouTube, a lot of people have the misconception that Charlie does nothing around the house and Charlie contributes to all this mess that I have to tidy up. And it's just not the case. He works his bum off inside and outside of the house. He does his equal share, and in fact he does more than that, because my chaotic self makes double the amount of mess a normal person would. You have to be very, very patient to live with a person like me, and I recognise that. And he's never once made me feel like a burden or less than. I mean, I make up for my messiness with my amazing personality, but yeah, I just absolutely adore him, and I struck gold. Anyway, we're on to the final room of the 60-minute challenge. And I hope you've enjoyed watching so far and listening to me ramble on. I genuinely had a great time filming this. If you know me, you know I'm not a fan of tidying. But because I'd done this timer challenge, I knew it was going to be over very soon. And yeah, I'd got my motivational videos on YouTube and I was just having a great time. Here are the million toilet rolls that Charlie bought from Costco. That caused a lot of controversy on TikTok, because I ended up taking them all out of the packets to try and configure them in some kind of aesthetic shape. It didn't work and everyone was like, why have you taken them out of the packets? Which, I mean, fair point, because I live with 3 boys and they're going to end up getting wee on them, but I've done it now. That video's on 500,000 views on TikTok now, and I didn't expect that. It was originally a short, it's on here, and I just posted it on TikTok. And they usually don't do as well on TikTok as my longer form videos on there. But yeah, if you want to go viral on TikTok, just irritate people. I don't do it on purpose, but I'm very good at it, just being myself. And there's food on the floor here because this is usually where my son sits in his high chair. Because we sometimes like to watch a movie while we're eating dinner. People hate that too. You can't please everyone. Honestly, just do what makes you happy. Life's hard enough as it is. Those that mind don't matter, and those that matter don't mind. And we have 1 minute left on the timer, and the last thing we've got to do is hoover. And as you've probably gathered by now, I highly recommend timer challenges. I got what seemed like a day's worth of work done in 60 minutes, and I am absolutely buzzing. Look at it. Oh. And as always, I really hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll hopefully be back with my productivity tips video very soon.